Do you want to know how to use mana? Do you want to know how to be rich? Do you want to know how to be always set up for success and never failure? Then this is the video. Welcome to Tower Heroes Tips, episode 2. Finally. I know, yes, it's been a little bit here, in universe, but that's okay, and I'm here now, and we're ready for the next part. This episode, I've dubbed Mana Management. Kind of rolls off the tongue there, right? In this episode, we're gonna go over stuff like enemy mana, wave mana, map mana, heroes that make mana, how to use mana, when to upgrade, when to sell, and mana share. Now, last episode, we looked at the general basics and strategies on how to maximize our efficiency, blah, 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 but I left out this very crucial element to the whole puzzle. Mana. That little purple shit at the bottom left corner of the screen. It's very important. Mana is the key to figuring out what you can do and when you can do it. Now, each hero costs mana to place. The placement costs of heroes are different between each and every one. So you may find some are great early game ones simply for their cheap price. Now, you start out with around 250 starting mana, which is enough to get you past wave 1, but obviously with more and more waves, you get more and more mana. Once a wave clears, you do get mana. We call this wave mana, because it comes from wave clearing. This makes sense. Now, the more the waves go by, the more mana you get from each wave clear. You can also get mana by attacking enemies. Let's say I got 2,000 mana, I'm poor, and I want to go fight Mr. King Slime. What are we going to do after that? We get, look at that, we get mana in the bottom left corner, look at that. Every time she attacks, we get mana. Now, your enemy mana gain will increase dramatically the more forms of damage toward enemies you have in your defense. So if you have a bunch of towers killing enemies, you get more and more mana gain from enemy mana. Now, leaving your heroes at level 1 is pretty much always worthless, which is why we need upgrades, people, upgrades. Upgrading your heroes makes them even better than before. And what's important is trying to figure out what level of what hero is needed at any given time. If there's a bunch of, I don't know, let's just say giant goblin, or wait, it's the one enemy with a space in its ID, hold on. There's a bunch of giant goblins, what are we gonna do? Quick, we need level 3 dump. Look, cause level 2 sucks, so we need level 3 right now. Yeah, look, now they're gonna die, because I did level 3 dump instead. Yay, ignore that I missed some. But, that kind of thing, you know what I'm saying? Like, figuring out the level of your hero and trying to match that with what is required at any given moment. If you're doing totally fine, just cruising through waves and you're saving your mana, or you're trying to farm with Lemonade Cat or something, then that's fine and everything's fine. Like, you don't have to over upgrade. But typically you do want to stay one step ahead of the curve. You do, because you never know when I don't know, Tower Heroes likes to send out some crazy super fast enemy that you're not prepared for, and you just die. You're like, oh crap, now I have to go worry about all this. And that would never have happened if we had a level 4 dump on random targeting. If we had a bunch of elite bees, then these guys would die. Well, they got close to dying, so you get what I mean. If I have a dump stack now, and then Tower Heroes decides to surprise me with a bunch of elite bees, well, suddenly, now all those enemies, they're gonna die. And Tower Heroes will never have caught me off guard because I prepared. Bam, they all died. Like magic. Now, I mentioned this a little bit in the last episode, but if you have Spectre near your heroes, and Spectre is upgraded, now, the upgrades are so much more expensive than they would be. Look at that. To get a level 5 Sparks Kilowatt costs 6,050. But if I needed one over here, it would only take me 5,500. So that's a pretty big increase. I mean, it's not, it might not seem like a lot, but over time, if you're upgrading all of your heroes, like all around here, then that money is going to add up quick, and you don't need to max Spectre early. So if I need to put this in every tutorial, then I will. But please don't max Spectre early when you don't need to. Only max Spectre when you absolutely have to. Another thing you want to be mindful of is when you should sell your heroes, because after you place them, yes, you can sell them. That is an option. For example, if you have a boss, you're on boss wave, you've got some heroes at the front, and now this dump is worthless, because if we're on the final wave, this hero is sitting here. This is just free 2100 mana down here at the bottom right corner. This is free mana, so I should be selling that immediately to help, you know, take down this boss later if I need to place some stuff a little bit farther upward a little bit, you know what I'm saying? So yeah, try to stay ahead of the game. If Tower Heroes is ready to freaking throw something stupid at you at wave 16, be ready for it by wave 13 or 14. Always be like 2 steps ahead of Tower Heroes. Always have probably more defense than you need, to be honest, which kind of counteracts what I just said about Spectre, but whatever. Now, if you let an enemy leak past your defense, say like this Molten Brawler from earlier, then now I have to go and finish this character off before it comes and kills me. So if I place some heroes at the very end and I kill whatever this is, I kill it so it's gone. So I kill it. I placed what I did. I placed what I placed to kill that enemy, and now that enemy is gone. Most people will sell the hero that they just placed immediately because they don't need it, and they're you know, they're just gonna go put stuff back at the front. Thing is, when you sell your heroes, you get less mana back in order to balance it. So clearly maxing Dumpster Child didn't take only 7,000 mana. So it's not worth it to place something, use all of your mana, and then only get a small percentage of it backward, when in reality you can just keep this hero here until you're absolutely certain that you don't need it. Because what if you're in a situation where your defense is kind of, you know, shaky and you don't really know what's going on, and there's, you know, you might have had one scary leak, but maybe there's 2 more that come in 2 waves, and so it's like, oh gosh, you know, if only I didn't sell that hero I just placed for the first leak. This is why you should keep your heroes where you put them until you absolutely don't need them anymore. Whether it's the placement space, like the overall placement space, or you just need the mana. Just be careful. Now, depending on who in your team has, you know, certain damage dealing towers, you might need to assign one specific person to be on this enemy leak duty of preparing to take down whatever enemy may occur through the leaks. You know, because if I have a deck, you know, I have El Goblino, I have Stella, I have Lemonade Cat, I don't even have like proper damaging towers. You know, only some people that have the correct towers that can take things down can take things down. So that's why if you get a leak, you have nothing that you can do to help, you should donate mana to the next person who can do something about it. Speaking of sending mana, Mana Share! You can send mana to any player that you want. This tool is going to be straight up mandatory on some, you know, later harder maps later on in the game, otherwise you just can't win. There's going to be situations where you need to send mana to one specific player for Maitake or for a Dumpster Child, you know, at the beginning of the game, because the wave mana is not good enough, and you need to help contribute and place something down immediately as fast as you can. Immediately. Time is of the essence, depending on what kind of enemies you're facing. However, on some newer maps, you may notice that Mana Share is actually disabled, and right now in sandbox mode, it's disabled by default because obviously you don't need a Mana Share in sandbox mode, but basically you'll see it just like this, where the mana symbol will be replaced with a golden mana symbol, and you're unable to Mana Share with anybody, and that makes it extra challenging. So that's a really fun way to you know, rip your hair out over this freaking feature. You know, you play a new map and then you see it's got golden mana and you're like, oh god, oh god. Now speaking of maps and mana, there is map mana. Map mana is a thing. On some maps or weekly challenges, the mana gain will be better or worse. This can obviously determine how you play, because mana is what you need to play. I think we can all Understand that. Now this next part is extremely important. This next part is extremely important. Every new player I've seen makes this mistake. And it makes sense on paper. But if you don't know anything about the game, you're just going to screw yourself. The more players you have in your server, the less mana you get from waves. So don't just go into every map with the full 6 players, thinking that a full lobby is your ticket to a guaranteed victory, because, newsflash, it's not. It makes the game so much harder. You can't really do anything, and it's just the game feels slow. It's not great. Just don't try to go into games with a full server. You're actively harming yourself if you don't have a plan. If you don't have a plan, you need to have a plan. Remember what I said in the last video. You have to be a team. You have to have a plan. You can't just go into rounds, all 6 of you. It's just horrible. It's a horrible, horrible way to play the game. Don't play the game like that. Don't be that guy. Don't be those people. Sometimes it's best to just go into games with only 2, 3, maybe even 4 players. That's okay, and that's the limit. That's the limit. If a map is getting harder, try bringing less people. That being said, there are ways to make 6-player lobbies actually good, and that's if people mana share to each other, which people typically don't really want to do because it's not very, entertaining. Finally, we have to get into some heroes that actually make mana themselves. That being Lemonade Cat, El Goblino, Stella, Nuki Launcher, and Jester. Every wave she gives her own additional bonus mana as soon as the next one starts. This effectively can straight up double your mana gain, but there are some caveats to this that you have to remember. The more players are in your lobby, the more Lemonade Cat will tax her mana to other players for balancing. What is tax mana? Here it is. For me, I'm in sandbox mode, I'm alone, so I have 0 taxes. But you get like a tax of maybe like 10 or so mana, and then it goes upward level 5, maybe like 200, depending on how many players you have in your lobby. For the taxes means that everyone can somewhat benefit from Lemonade Cat early on. Now with Lemonade Cat, she's kind of a slow burn tower. She's really all about the investment. She only makes money after you upgrade her. Basically, the sooner you get Lemonade Cat placed down and upgraded and maxed, the better. Now since you can place up to 4 of her, there's been a lot of debate on what is the most efficient way to upgrade. Some say just purchase the most expensive upgrade whenever you can. Some say to level each one up all at the same time. And some just say do what you can at any given time. Now my take on her, I think the way you upgrade her just depends on the situation that you're in. I know. Boring answer. But it's true. If you think about it, all you're able to upgrade is based on your own mana gain. So since your mana gain changes, your Lemonade Cat upgrading should also change. Now, I could be wrong on this, and correct me in the comments if I'm statistically saying a bunch of hoo-hash, but I believe if you have a 6-player lobby, you have a bunch of people in here, that the best course of action should be to upgrade each one individually, all together, all at level 2, all at level 3, 4, and 5. If you're in a less populated lobby, perhaps it's best to upgrade your Lemonade Cats having some at 2, some at 3, but then taking each one to max one by one. It's funny. After all these years of me playing this game, I still don't even really know the efficiency of which you should upgrade Lemonade Cat. That's because it doesn't really matter. You can really just upgrade her the normal way or however you want, and you'll still find success. Goodness, that one was a doozy. Okay. El Goblino. He will place traps on the ground that you could sell for mana, right along the path. I'm gonna be honest, selling the traps is really pointless, and it really just takes forever to make your mana back up. Like, look how much a level 1 trap sells for. 2.5. Guess how much it costs for him to place? 350 mana. Yeah, you're gonna have to sell for like 2 minutes straight, make your money back. It's just only good at like level 4 or 5 to to sell traps. Otherwise, they just sell for so little, it doesn't really matter. Now, a good way to use El Goblino is if you have like a front defense going on with the Goblino, you can have one in the back with a bunch of traps that aren't being used, and you can just keep selling those over and over and over again. and get some free mana, because no enemies are getting over here. No enemies are actually using these traps, so you can just sell them. Now, Stella. I'm not even going to try to get into all the specifics and strategies with her. She deserves her own video. I'm just going to be honest. She deserves her own video. When an enemy enters her range, she will spawn a drawing. So when someone enters her range and when her rate is at 0 also, if that wasn't obvious enough, she will spawn a drawing. And I will say though, is placing all 3 level 1 Stellas at the front of the defense and constantly selling the drawings that spawn is great. Because each one sells, if they have full HP, they sell for 200 each, which is way better than El Goblino's dinky little 2.5 at level 1. If you notice, when Stella spawned the drawing is actually out of range of the path. When drawing health gets low, they start selling for weaker prices. So full drawing level 1, 200 mana. If it has 7 out of 8 HP, it now has 175, which is why it's smart to try to place Stella in a way where she'll place her drawings that have no range and will never be able to do damage before they're sold, so that you guarantee a full 200 mana when sold. Alright, now we get to talk about Nuki Launcher. Yay, Nuki Launcher, Nuki Launcher. Okay, I'm gonna be honest with you, Nuki Launcher's garbage. It sucks. Trying to sell any of the things that Nuki summons is just awful. You only get like 200 mana. You never really want to sell individual Nukis that come out of the Nuki Launcher because they help you. Nuki Launcher at level 5 is such an expensive tower to place. It's probably not even worth the farm, so don't try and use Nuki Launcher for a farm. Now finally, we have a tower that you can actually use for mana gain, and it's kind of good, except sometimes it's really bad, but we'll get into it. It's Jester! Jester has a bunch of different abilities that he can do at random, but starting at level 3, he can actually start to give mana. The only problem is that, just like his other abilities, he can actually take away mana. See, look, Jester just gave me 2k right there, which is kind of nice. It's like, damn, Jester. Okay, I didn't know you were cool like that. He can give a decent chunk of change at level 5 if you're lucky. However, just like all of his other abilities, he can do a negative version of it, where he can take away your mana, which is kind of annoying. It's just a fun but dangerous gamble, you know, like all gambling really is. Whew. Oh, that was so much yapping. Anyways, I hope that was helpful. Sorry about the big gap between episodes. I went through this like early life crisis of sorts, and it was kind of weird, but it was kind of good though, because I decided that YouTube is kind of fun right now, and I should really be doing more of it. So that's exciting. I also apologize for the first episode being so CapCut animation-y. I realize now, watching that back, how random and forced some of like the weird pop-ups on screen are, and it's kind of just cringe. And I had to I animated some of the images coming on screen. Like, it just looked cringe. So sorry about that one. Hopefully this one wasn't so cringe. If you have any further questions, be sure to join my Discord server, SKINNYVILLE, link in the description. Our server is growing more and more and more each day, and we're starting to build a little cute little community there. Yeah, I love it. It's fun. Alright, that's it. Smash like if you enjoyed. Subscribe. It's free, and you can always change your mind later. Type the video if you're on mobile, and I am out. Deuces. Deuces. You like how I change my outro literally every single video? Man, I wonder when I'm gonna get a proper one soon.